hat all made and cinched down tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mackie.
Take it away, we will. Welcome to Dave and Mackie's Shiny Side Out on WCCR. Coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com.
That's right.
It is home to fresh, unadulterated ideas and conversations in the chat room and a place to get your merch. What's the show number?
560.
60 and 500. 560 shows. Good Lord. You can catch us on air, online, on any smart device. That's pretty good. I'm sure there'll be other techs coming pretty soon. But for the meantime, grab an app to listen anywhere or listen at home on Grace Tabletop Digital Radio. Solaris, of course, had a show. I missed it, but it doesn't matter, and I'll tell you why in a second. But she was talking to Bill Brown, and they were discussing his projects at Giza, which is, I'm definitely going to listen to that. And how can I do that? I'll tell you how. I can go to the archives, which are freelicious. I just go to the webpage, freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio, there it is, boom, 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 boom. And on the top, I'm doing it right now as we speak. And the top of it, there are these buttons, right? And one of them is called Archives. Whoa, that's crazy, Mackie. That's just nuts. What? No, it's true. And you just go in there and you listen to it. That's it for free. That's right. Download it, MP3, and go ahead and just check it out for free. That's awesome. And you should, because she always has great shows and great guests. And this one sounds like a particularly interesting show. It's really my wheelhouse, that kind of stuff. Now, this is Listener Funded Radio. What does that mean? Now, you should know by now, it's been many, many years, but what it means is that there are no corporate sponsors, no NGOs, no governmental organizations, no religious or other affiliated mobs and associations that tell us what to do. No. Essentially, this is just the people that run the station and the on-air folk, like Dave and I. That's pretty much it. And nothing else. And it is your money, your hard-earned money, that keeps the station going. So if you like the content, even though just the one show, maybe you just like the one show, that's okay. Hey, maybe you like all the shows, even more reason to donate. But if you can't donate, it's cool, I dig it. It's hard times. It's tough all over. It's tough all over. Mel Brooks said that, I think. It's tough all over. And it is. It's unbelievable. It's what it is. Anyway, tell your friends and family. Tell strangers. Tell your colleagues to listen to Revolution Radio. Maybe you tell them to listen to the Shiny Side Out. That'd be good. Listen to Solaris. That's good too. Mitchell Bopp, he's a good guy. Joe Bear is also good. Just listen to those guys, right? Listen to Plato's Cave if you really want to. But I do apologize. I still have some kind of leprosy. But yeah, donate if you can. Or if you can't, tell people about it. Because one of those people might be able to donate. Maybe even 4, 5, or 6. You never know. You never know. Now, before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in Australia here, from which we broadcast, Dave.
Mm-hmm. The Darkinjung.
Thank you, Dave. And for me here, it's the Darug people. And with that, we like to pay our respects to elders, past, present, and future. And it's actually called Welcome to Country, I think is what it's called.
That is what that's called.
But we don't have to call it anything, because all it is for us is just acknowledging and respecting those that went before us. And the funny thing is this, I'll tell you why, Dave.
What's that?
Over the last few decades, maybe even centuries, we've completely disregarded and dismissed all Aboriginal lore and knowledge in every respect you can imagine. Completely dismissed it. Only recently, in the face of catastrophic bushfires, catastrophic natural events, are we understanding that they knew a lot more than we ever did. And they were right. So we have now, at the last minute, you might say, engaged Aboriginal or First Nations people, if you will, to help with forest management and a whole range of other activities like that. Okay, because 2019 was the most horrific event, I think, from a bushfire perspective, Australia ever went through. By far,
completely.
By far.
Was it 4 billion animals lost?
It's,
astounding.
The number's completely it's completely incomprehensible. I mean, honestly, it's just what? No, but let's just hope that we will not see a repeat. Now, the weather is not going to help us here. It's just not, okay?
No.
And you can see it all around you. And I mean, right now, we are suffering in Australia from massive floods. I mean, almost biblical floods, if you will.
It's still
in
happening.
the same place. Yeah, it's going on. And it keeps going. And I tell you what, it's November. It's the end of November, which means it's the end of spring. December is the first summer month. Now, normally, you know, and today I did. Normally I walk around in shorts and a t-shirt, whatever, you know, flip-flops, thongs, you might call them. And for the last week, though, I had to wear a jacket. I'll be honest with you, I wore a jacket and I still sleep under covers. Now, they're light covers, don't get me wrong, but normally in summer I don't need covers because it's so hot and I even put the air conditioning on. I didn't put the air conditioning on yet. I haven't.
Today we did.
Did you? Yeah. Well, actually, I think I'll put it on for the girls later because without sleeping upstairs, some hot air rises, as you know. But the point is, we have seen an unseasonably cool beginning of summer here, right?
And we almost had
like
no summer last year. Last time because of all the rain.
Yeah, absolutely.
9 months of rain.
Yeah. So let's hope that our Johnny come lately insight into enlisting the help of Aboriginal elders as well as custodians of the ancient arts of horticulture and forest management didn't come too late.
Well, one can hope.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's
right.
right.
We've
just put up the hope tree for Christmas. That's what it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, hope is not a strategy. Sure is now, buddy boy. What?
That's right. Hey, look, so you know, I wanted to, it's probably a good segue because you did mention you know, flip flops because America knows you know, a shoe that we wear that we call thongs as flip flops. So I wrote this thing down. This week I was watching some very funny. I was watching a lot of comedy this week because there's so much serious in the world, so I had to kind of lighten it up. And we'll get to the serious in a minute. But I couldn't segue out of the serious into this. I think I have to start with it. So I wrote this down. It's like maybe 2 paragraphs, and I'm just going to read it. And if you're an American, if it doesn't matter where you are in the world, try to work out what it is that I'm talking about, because these are going to be words that you're not used to. Now, Mecki and I have kind of made this more an international show where we don't say anything specifically Australian. You might hear, you know, accent, yes, but we don't, you know, I'll say, Americans say sidewalk, we say footpath. We say, you know, we just say bin, but you say trash can. So there's a whole bunch of slight differences.
You say tomato.
Yeah, so the slight differences here. We will say cell phone, so you don't have to understand that we say mobile phone. There's a whole bunch of stuff we cleanse for you guys. All right, so I'll start. The Savo, I went to the Servo, then Macca's. I was going to wear my runners, but wore my thongs. They said they only had plain salt. I said, yeah, nah. I wanted chicken salt instead on my chips. Got kicked out. And the coppers asked if I'd been drinking. I said I hadn't made it to the bottle-o and was going there after grabbing a roast chook from Woolies. On second thoughts, I might get a case and chuck a sickie. Now, even though that's not exactly how I would talk, that's understandable. That's translatable. Mecki knew exactly what I was. Don't joke. You knew what I was talking about.
I did.
Right. Because these are Australianisms that I didn't understand the depth of that they cease on our border. Even as simple as that.
Oh, yeah.
Woolies. What on earth is Woolies? I don't know.
Shook now? What? What?
Chook? Yeah. What about a bottle-o?
What? What?
So yeah, so I watched a really funny thing about that today, and America doesn't have chicken salt.
Oh no! You know what? You've ruined the whole country for me. That's it. I'm never setting foot into America again, because I always thought I never saw it, but I thought it was my fault. I thought I was to blame for not looking hard enough. Now you're telling me it is not I, but America that is at fault here for not having chicken salt.
That's right. They have celery salt, which is interesting, and you'll find that more in the KFC recipe. But I'll tell you, there's no chicken salt. The other day, just like the old advert that we ran on TV at the fish and chip shop, where the guy goes, and the person working behind the counter says, "Would you like chicken salt?" And he goes, "I like both." And then they did that dance.
Going all out, brother.
Yeah, you can have both. Yeah, oh boy, woo, that's some cholesterol right there.
That was an awesome ad. I love that ad.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Really. Both. Wow, no one says that. Look, I will. I did it on Friday.
Nice.
When
Good
they said,
man.
"Do you want chicken salt?" I said both, and I said I'm supposed to do a dance right now. That's what I said.
And you're meant to give me that knowing look. Come on, where is it?
Well, the guy behind me, I looked around, and he was like, "Would this guy just get out of my way? I need to order. What's with the banter? You don't, it was like a patron at the soup nuts. You just make your order and you go to the right."
Oh, dude,
that's all.
His problem is he had too much personality. You see, that's his problem. Too much personality.
I thought that worked in my favor, but apparently not. No.
Oh, dude.
So,
tell you.
So now, kind of the serious stuff, and I'll work into it. The first thing was the COVID cases. They're ramping up again. So we now have more cases per day than we did when the pandemic broke out, and we've got 76,000 cases a week. That's what the numbers we're talking about.
That's not true. No.
I'm only telling you.
No, it's not
the
true.
numbers say, not what's actually going on.
No,
yeah.
That's not true.
So that's good. I'm glad you counter it. I like that. And we've only had 110 deaths in the last week that are documented as being associated with the virus.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing in the way of doses that are administered vaccine. I did have the bivalent one, and it knocked me out for nearly 4 whole days.
It is, really?
Yeah, it was like getting a virus. I didn't get the virus, and I didn't get viral symptoms, but I had the headache, and I had muscle fatigue and aches, and all I wanted to do was go to sleep for about 4 days.
Maybe somebody gave that to me, because that's how I've been feeling, plus the cough.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody injected me surreptitiously with the virus. Sorry,
I like the idea.
Antivirus. Right?
Maybe a kid chippy.
I run past him and I kick him with my shoe, and I inject the poison into his foot.
What? No umbrella?
I've got a spike in my shoe. It's like James Bond.
So, yeah, look, I don't want to say any more about it. COVID's been done to death, and except for Fauci's I think they read a story this week that he's announced his retirement.
What a shock.
Yeah. I wonder how he's going to spend all the millions, but I'll be quiet. That's all I'm going to say. I feel for the poor fellow. No, I don't. I'm making it up. It's not true at all. It's kind of sad, Mickey. That's really all it is. Yeah. Don't you think? It's kind of sad that a person who was in the media has to quit the media now.
Yeah, I guess so.
There was a report, and I don't know who issued the report. I can't find a news story right now, but this was put out. I don't want to guess. Dr. John Campbell announced on his show, and I didn't get to follow it up any further, but that the quantity of deaths were greater for those who had been vaccinated than those who hadn't. This is what a recent study has found. Now, whether those numbers are because people who were vaccinated took more risk, that's fair. That's a fair way to put it. Or for any other reason, I don't know. So that wasn't explained. It was just numbers. And
Odd though.
yeah, it is a little odd. And look, I put it down to that, to be honest. And I want to close the COVID thing. There we go. Oh, it's closed now. Okay, so something really interesting here. Yeah, I did. Futurist, I did. Yes, you heard correctly. That's my 4th jab. I had the original and then the 2 boosters, and then I had the bivalent. And in fact, I had the Moderna one because the Pfizer one isn't released here until December. Now I have to protect my daughter from viruses, so I've had to have done it the whole time, and or I was incapable of visiting her in hospital during her extremely serious operation that she had this year. So just telling you, there was those of us that were forced into it due through a situation. I announced myself, Meki, as you know, to be the end of the queue. I would wait for everyone else to get it, then see what happened. But then my life situation changed, and I had to get it, and I had to be right at the front and get it as an emergency.
We make plans. There's a little laughter in the background, which is God, and then the real thing happens.
That's right.
It's just look, and it's just how it is, guys. It's just the reality of the world. I mean, if you can hold out or do whatever you think is right for you, good for you. I say good for you. But by the same token, don't judge others because their life circumstances might be quite different.
Yeah, look, I get the flu shot, which is a different animal altogether, right? Different beast.
Never got it. Never.
Yeah. Well, I've had the flu shots, and then now I've got the whole COVID thing. Anyway, look, the first story here, which I think, not the COVID thing, but the first real story here is a story to do with Paul Pelosi. Now, that's the famous Pelosi, who's Speaker of the House in America. Her husband was, I think, assailed. Well, there was an assailant, and this was all
with a hammer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was the midterms statement that was put out. It was originally written as Paul. Paul opened the door, and then something really weird happened. That the Department of Justice, the DOJ, they changed the story that the police opened the door. Forcefully opened the door, which would be then enter. Not break and enter, but just enter. Right? And then they'd be going against a warrant or what have you. But just now, post midterms, the odd thing has been declared now, and that is that the body cam footage clearly shows that Paul opened the door. That Paul Pelosi actually opened the door. So I think, this is only my personal belief, I think that might have all come about and been designed in such a way that the evil Republican overlords or autocracy styled policing was to blame. Even though the left was in power, the Democrats were in power, it didn't matter. They could run stories that the emotional connection to the police just opening up your door and coming inside, and then you're beaten with a hammer, right, or whatever the rest of the story is. It's irrelevant. So whether or not they knocked and Paul opened the door, and the deposition that was put forward was initially that he opened the door, and then it became the police opened the door just for the midterms. Now it's rolled back again, and the proof is there that the whole thing was fabricated just for the midterms. And I think that's rather appalling that because you can be found in contempt of court or something, or producing a false statement or what have you, and that's really bad. You can't do that. And
you just shouldn't.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't do it for the reprisal that lands you in jail. Anyhow, so you're falsely accusing a police officer of doing something. I think that was really bad. And then they've defended themselves and go, look at my footage. Yeah, I didn't do it. He opened the door. And they're right, fair, cool. So whatever that purpose was, it seemed to have served a purpose, even surreptitiously, or it was all completely just coincidental that it happened around the midterms. But who knows? I don't think we'll ever know. But certainly the stories that are getting out now are showing this, and it disappoints me greatly.
Well, you have to understand, this is a very crucial election in the midterms. And the funny thing is this. I don't think it was necessary to fabricate a story like this. They might have felt it was necessary. I'm not saying they didn't. But if you look at what actually happened and how people voted in the end, right?
Yeah.
Irrespective of any other stories, it was clear there was no massive swing toward the Republican Party for a number of reasons. In fact, the candidates that had been specifically promoted by Donald Trump did the worst. They actually did the worst out of all the Republicans that stood. Now, that's neither here nor there. What it means, though, is that I think Mr. Trump might not have as easy a time to return to the chair of power than he thinks. Because, number one, he may not be the Republican candidate, possibly. Republicans might go a different way. Because the thing is, it is theirs to lose, in my opinion. If you look at the American political landscape right now, and you look at Joe Biden, who's like 5,000 years old, and Kamala, I don't even know her name. That's terrible. Kamala Harris, right? Kamala, whatever. She's been a non-entity, so she can't run on the ticket by herself. It's not gonna happen. Joe Biden he'll make an announcement in the second half of his presidency, like the second 2 years, and he will say that he's not going to run anymore. He'll say that.
Well, I think Hillary's already putting the makeup on.
Oh, look, mate.
For sure.
Whoever, but my point is, it is the Republicans to lose, in my opinion.
Or it's Michelle / Michael Obama, right? They could run.
Unlikely, but look, anything is possible. But I don't think that the Republican Party would put its best foot forward if they did choose Donald Trump. But that's just my opinion. Americans need to do what they need to do.
And there's plenty of time, though. There's still 2 more years. There's like 6 months until the campaign begins.
Yeah, that's right. It'll go quick. Time is going to fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, stories. Jay, look, it certainly did. The story that the Pelosi's put forward did a number of things. Two main things. Number one, it portrayed the Republicans in a bad light, because the way it was told, it was like that someone that supported Trump quite clearly had attacked her husband with a hammer. Now that's something you just don't do. I mean, you don't attack anyone with a hammer, but there you are. And the second thing is that because of that attack and the negative light that fell on the Republicans that way, or at least the Trump component of the Republicans, it put the Pelosi's and the Democrats in a much better light. Almost as though it's a fight between barbarism and civilization. I mean, the barbarians are swinging the hammers; they're coming for you.
Who do you want?
They stomped the Capitol. Now they're coming to our house with hammers. I mean, seriously, right? Or do you want to keep the guardians of democracy alive? Well, no, I'm serious. That's the story.
I know that's their story. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's the narrative, man. So look,
I'm more concerned about the Department of Justice and the change of the story, and now it's clearly changed back. And if it was all driven by Paul Pelosi, if he was the one who instigated the change, then I've got to call it there and just say, you know what, that's really poor play. That's poor sportsmanship. He's playing the system. Or it was done from the DOJ side. Go, look, you're better off doing it this way, right? I don't know. I don't know who made the call. I wasn't in the room. But someone changed it.
Look, and ultimately, it doesn't actually matter, right? But what matters is that we have a changed story. And at this point, it really doesn't matter who did what and how and when. You have to ask yourself, why did this story change? And what is the greater narrative here? Who stands to gain from a change here? And I don't know. Look, ultimately, all I can say is Jeffrey Epstein didn't commit suicide.
There you go. Didn't kill himself. Yep. All right. Something else that's come to light was that there was nothing of any discernible business interest in the Mar-a-Lago documents. There was only documents that this is in the Washington Post, so and take it however you wish to read it. But it said that he only took things that largely supported his ego and a desire to hold on to the materials as trophies or mementos. Now, every president does this. I think we said this before. They will end up writing memoirs from all of these documents as prizes. What they were able to do. And the review has not found any apparent business advantage to the types of classified information in Trump's possession. These people said, FBI interviews with witnesses so far, they said, also do not point to any nefarious effort by Trump to leverage, sell, or use government secrets. So they've got nothing on him, right?
No. The interesting thing, though, Dave, is that now the court has ruled that he has to open his tax records. That's the latest wham against him.
They're going to continue to pursue him until he's
but see,
rock bottom.
Mar-a-Lago didn't really net anything juicy, so that's interesting. Now, okay, you know what? Let's look at your taxes. I mean, the funny thing is this, right? In America, the biggest criminals, I'm not saying Trump is a criminal, but the biggest criminals, they weren't done for the crimes they committed. That's not all how they got it. You know how they got Al Capone? Taxes. He didn't pay his taxes properly. Wesley Snipes, he was in jail for not paying his taxes, believe it or not. A whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of wealthy people in America go to jail because they don't pay their taxes properly. Now, that says a lot about the tax system, in my opinion, more than it does about the American taxpayer. Okay.
Yeah.
Because here in Australia, I mean, I'm sure it happens, but I mean, in America, it seems to be endemic. I mean, and if you really want to get someone, you get them on their taxes, and that's what they're trying to do with Trump. Now, we're going to get you on your taxes. At the very least, we're going to make you look like a dunce, right? And that's where we are with this. I mean, again, but having said that, I don't think he is a viable candidate for the Republican Party. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. Look, it is good and it's worthy. And you're right. All of those people in history have not been taken down for their actions, but rather, yes, pursued for very small crimes. At least they got them for something. And, yes. And whether or not any of it's fabricated or not, I really don't care. But yes, they'll go after someone even if they've got nothing. They can make something stick, and that's. 100%. But usually the people at the top are completely clean of all of that, all of the things they really want to get them for.
No, just in case people don't believe this, look at what's his name? Wikipedia. WikiLeaks. I should say.
Yes.
Assange. Julian Assange.
Yeah.
Now, so he was accused of espionage that didn't stick, and so he ran away and he was hiding in the UK. And then they brought up the charges of rape against him that happened in Scandinavia somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But that sort of was dropped, right? And then there was extradition hearing and this and that. I mean, the truth is they didn't really have anything on him, but they tried to fabricate whatever they could to get it, and that's how the system works. Everybody,
Yeah, that's right.
that's exactly how it works.
To me, they'll be hell bent on attempting to get them for something.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to name any others that I'm aware of, but I know there's some others which I'll talk to Mackie off air
Yeah.
about because I don't want to put myself into jeopardy. Anyway, next, this was a big surprise. I think this was today. Did you know, Mackie, that the Belarusian foreign minister died, age 64?
Did he fall out of a window?
Well, shiny floors and open windows are currently the highest contributor to deaths and the most critical of those people's careers. No, this was Vladimir Mackay had served as President Alexander Lukashenko's chief of staff and presidential advisor. Wow, he just suddenly died. They didn't name the cause of death. And he was not known to suffer any chronic illness.
Yeah. Again, look, it does happen. So we're not suggesting foul play at this point. However, Dave is right.
Little bit killing, gadget.
Little bit of falling down. Oh, look, he no grab no more. No, well, too bad. No, but look, it is curious whenever some high-profile mover and shaker, in this case, it's clearly mover and shaker, passes away. Because the thing is this. Now, I'm going to put this out here, the theory, right? Because I hadn't actually heard about it, but now since Dave mentioned it, I'm going to give you my 10 cents, and this is what I'm going to tell you. So Putin really wants Russia to join the war in the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. He really, really, really wants them to join the war effort. Now, the Belarusian president doesn't want to have a bar of it. He's not a fool, right? Mm-hmm. In his mind, in fact, his opposition in Belarus said he's not a fool and he knows that Russia lost this war, so he doesn't want to get embroiled. Now, is it possible? I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that's what it is. Is it possible that this poor gentleman, a fairly high-ranking Belarusian, political person in the inner circle, mm-hmm. was a warning to say, hey, buddy, look, we've been buying you milk, okay, and I've been giving you my candy all day long, and I've been protecting you from the bullies and the player, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. and now your brother fell down a well, and look what happened, he fell in the well and he was eaten by a tiger that was down in the well. I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds of the
tiger? I know, right? Yeah.
One of those rare well-dwelling tigers. So hey, how about you come up, after school we just meet up with those Ukrainian kids and teach them a lesson. What do you say? Hey, because we don't want any more people falling into wells that are populated by tigers, right?
Yeah, yes, it's going around.
Look, going around.
That's interesting because only just in the last 4 weeks, I think it was 4 weeks, they'd said no to commencing a front from the north back to retake Kiev. And the 70,000 troops that were all built up and ready to go, including aircraft, were all sent around to the east and evacuated the country, right, of Belarus. So I think it's important to put this into perspective. I think, Mackie, you're kind of right without saying any more. And
saying anything?
Yeah, I didn't. No one said anything. I swear it was a cross line. And that this appears totally accidental in my, and coincidental in the way I'm looking at this right now. I don't want trouble.
What?
Yeah. So I love the leader, and happy days.
Hooray.
Everyone should be very happy with themselves. So it's sad. It's sad to see the loss of anyone, and while we joke about this, I still feel for his wife and kids if he had any, and
of course.
Yeah, it's it's awful. But look,
Yeah.
whoever gets promoted to the new role, like, you have disappointed me for the last time, General. Right? Clutching his throat. Right?
He promotes. No, actually, Darth Vader he actually promoted from within.
I
Right?
know.
He was the
Yes.
inspirational leader, right? No
Inspirational.
outside talent, no consultants.
Yeah. He didn't put an ad on Seek, right?
That's right.
No, it
Yeah,
just
like-
hey, what? I'm glad you stepped up. You've agreed to take the role. Yeah, good on you.
Yeah.
You won't let me
You.
down, will you? Right? Yeah, good on you. It's kind of good. It's kind of good. You know, he would have got acting wages for the first minute.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure, he would.
Yeah,
Now,
that's funny.
the thing that I've noticed is this is from New Scientist, by the way, this one. The whole story around fusion reactors and they're getting better and we're getting to know more about it, and look, if we can just let it run for more than 30 seconds, we'll get unlimited power. It'll be like forever power. Woo! Yeah. Let's make some
Hurrah.
plasma. Hurrah.
Let's
Right.
do the plasma.
Well, the Korean nuclear fusion reactor achieved a 100 million degrees Celsius for a staggering, you ready? I hope you're sitting down, 30
Sitting.
seconds.
That's pretty good, actually.
30 whole seconds. The thing was hot.
That's quite amazing, to be honest.
Did it generate any power? Nope. No power yet. But it was hot.
Pretty hot, though.
Yeah, it was hot.
Hot, hot.
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 No, that's a fart.
Hot in the city.
That's a fart. You want to barbecue? You want to eat? You all want to eat?
So hot. Ooh.
So it ionized pretty much all matter within the magnetic field, and it hit all of its targets. Right, it was good. And I was going to say, there isn't power being produced by them yet. And by the time they get to something that actually makes power, they'll have discovered a superconductor version of it that runs cold, and it'll just be operational forever. And you can hold it in your hand or something, right? That's like you're pouring so much money into doing this, and there's still for naught. So it's interesting. It's kind of like that Artemis rocket that there's a fifth one that's going to land on the moon, actually with people in it. And the first one, it took 2.5 times greater amount of time to get to the moon than the Apollo missions. But, who am I to complain? And it finally did its insertion burn 24 hours ago. Crazy. In that whole time, the Apollo 11 was said to have gone to the moon and come back. Wow. Took 3 days to get there, stayed for a day and a half, left, came back. There you go. There's 8 days gone. And then, but some of the rhetoric, Meki, that I'm hearing, which is really interesting, and it comes from their own media sources within the Artemis project. And they said, this will be the first time we've landed men on the moon. And there's also the first female, there's a first bunch of firsts in there, but in the covering statement, it said first on the moon, first people on it.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like, did you fake all of it? Did you? Maybe they did. Maybe the whole thing was a farce, right? From top to bottom. And it was just to win the space race, because the verbiage didn't match history. And the person can't be that young to have forgotten that it even happened before. Unless they're so woke that they didn't like that, I don't know.
But I Googled it. Nothing came up.
Nothing came up. Yeah. Remember how the internet's been tailored for your personality. And you only get about 20 different search results these days in Google, even though it says there's a billion returns, and you get to page 2, and it's the same now as page 1. And then eventually, which country? Korea. And it's the Korean one. Billy Bad. Yeah. I can't say the whole thing. So, yeah, it's weird. It's weird that the conversation should change. And we'll just have keeping our eyes on the project and see how it goes. No doubt they're holding back Starship in order to prove their technology that they've just, found in the junkyard. It's like a barn find. We found a rocket. Let's put some boosters on it. And just send it. We're going to send it. Right? And there's math involved. I don't really care.
Yeah, that's just for nerds, man.
And their spacesuits are like old looking, like 60 years old. It's like, we blew the dust off them. They look really good.
It's like you're trying to wear your wedding suit, for your child's wedding. Your own, like what the frock that you used to wear. Yeah. Oh, it fits. Look, it's just like a glove. Yeah, sure, Dad. Like a glove.
The buttons aren't doing it. Yeah.
You get arrested. In some states, you get arrested for that.
You do? Oh, that's in TC.
What?
Sure.
Excuse me. No, look. The thing is this, though, right now. The moon mystery. I know we spent a lot of time on it in the past, but the moon mystery is really one of those things that if you don't know anything about anything else, you've never heard about anything, you don't know about JFK and Atlantis and Bigfoot, none of that, right? But then you look at this very odd moon thing, right? This whole moon Earth sun relationship, which is completely nonsensical. It's unique as far as we know. Any observable body in the universe so far. It's almost as though someone is pointing a finger at the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun, saying, "Look at this, guys, over here. Look at that. Isn't that odd? This shouldn't be over here. Look." And now we are going to put people on again. Okay, let's see. You know what, Dave? Let's see what happens.
I'm watching every millimeter of this space flight.
Because I'm not convinced that there won't be any incidences. I reckon there will be incidences, and I think they're going to be terrible incidences.
I think the race this time, while it looks typical government style, where they're taking every precaution, they're doing everything right, the thing that they're not doing is training the astronauts the way that they trained the 50 years ago. Flying versions of those devices in real life, which was the only thing that was said to have saved Apollo 11's landing. It was his experience in the flight controls. So I'm not saying that they didn't go, right? But from if I follow the narrative, that's what I hear. So it does my head in. Mackie. We're just going to have to keep watching, see what happens.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Keep a close eye on it. Absolutely.
Yeah. But the last story, though, I want to say is something that's really unusual, and to say that it's unusual is like the message came from the future back in time to us back in August of this year. August, not that far away, ago, and it was rolling blackouts may soon be something Australians have to live with. Hang on a minute. Why? We have coal-fired plants and we have renewable energy. We've got wind. We've got solar, and we've got that other thing. The thing with the water. Yeah. We've got hydro, right? All of that, and we haven't had rolling blackouts before. So, how can our population has been stagnant for 3 years. Pretty much. We haven't had the big, huge influx of people coming from overseas, right? So, what? Hang on a minute. How can there be less power now than there was when we were booming? And there isn't any explanation to the origin of the story. There just isn't. They're saying There's a Callide power station in central Queensland that was completely offline. Doesn't matter. We have other power. I know they turned some power off, some power stations off, but they've turned it back on again. So how can we suddenly have these rolling power blackouts unless it's just the message? Maybe it's the Great Reset, Mackie. Maybe we're meant to be all deprived of technology.
I think there's okay. You know what? It's actually interesting in customer service, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are two things that are really important, and it goes for any business really, but customer service especially. And I'm saying this because it's the same for any messaging. There are two things that are critically important. Whenever you're putting a message out there, whenever you're trying to convey something, number one is communication in and of itself. So you have to communicate. That's the number one thing, which is pretty straightforward. So you don't have to, it's a no-brainer really if you think about it, right? That's one. But the second one, this is equally important, is expectation setting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're setting the expectation that, you know what, you're going to have all these blackouts and that's going to happen to you, and in your mind, you're going, oh, well, I guess I was already expecting this when it happens, right? Whatever the reasons are. And you're not surprised and you don't balk at it and you just go, okay, well, I expected it because they told me it would happen. And you might not even investigate as to why it happened because they told you it would happen.
They set the expectations and now it's come true.
Yeah, it's come true. Therefore, oh, well done, government. Thank you for warning me.
Yeah, they're really good. I should vote for them again. Yeah.
You should, right? No, the thing is this, right? No, well, you shouldn't because what really happened here? Dave is right. Why is our power consumption spiking all of a sudden? Are we expecting 10 million people to, inflow into Australia over the next week?
No.
I want to say no. I'm going to say no on that one. That's just me, though. But I'm a naysayer, right? So.
Well, shortly after that story came out, then they told us the price was going to increase by at least 30%.
And it makes sense because we gotta build more infrastructure. It could cost money. So
yeah,
fair enough. Let's do that. See,
we just sold the poles and wires.
Yeah.
We sold those. We don't need those poles and wires, surely, to transmit the power. Oh, but sir, yes, we do. Oh, what? And why did we sell it?
Ooh.
Oh, we needed money. So now we've got all the money. What are we doing? Oh, we've already sold the money. We've already spent it all. But who owns them? Oh, this company. Isn't it their bag? Isn't it they're holding the bag now that they've got to fix all the poles and wires? Yeah, but we sold them a dodgy product.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but now they've got the handout to the government saying you need to pay us all this money to fix all the things. It's like, when someone sold you, like your friend sold you a car and it broke down the moment you got in the car. And you go, oh man, that's not good. I need some money. But I didn't need it. Just give me back the money that I gave you and we should be sweet. Right?
No, you're getting a taillight guarantee. What you're getting from me is, you know what a taillight guarantee is?
No.
I will guarantee the working operation of whatever I sold you until I can no longer see it.
Nice.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're driving away from me and I see the taillights disappearing, all your problem now. I have no idea what you're doing to the car. I don't know. You could be taking a hammer to it. I don't know. When I sold it to you, you were happy with it. I was happy with it. Okay? That's it. I wash my hands. Tail light guarantee is what you're getting. That's all you're getting. And yeah, look.
It scares me when I look at the Ukraine right now because Russia has taken out all the power infrastructure, all the connection cabling from the power generation to the grid. They've taken them all out. And so now I've seen some nighttime footage of the satellite showing the Ukraine and it's black. There's only locally generated power by fuel generators that have been given by other countries. And everyone's, spends an hour in the tent to charge their phone and they walk away. That's it. It's pretty bad. Now, do you want your country to be like that? Nope. My immediate thought was, we're not California with their rolling blackouts. No.
Well, look, but that's right, though. You see, the thing is, we have moved in the war at least, we've moved to a situation now where what I said I think will absolutely come true. The Ukrainians are going to hit them really hard. Okay, and this was all he could do to stop it, or to attempt to stop it, was to give them something else to do. Now think about that as a strategy. Now, okay, so there's a big bully coming at me, in the schoolyard. Okay, so I know I can't beat him. Now I did spit in his lunch though, and then I peed on his shoes, and I also slept with his girlfriend. Now,
well, that's why he's walking towards you now at recess.
Yeah, but that's his fault, right? That I did all these things. That's his fault, because he's got red hair. I mean, hey, come on, you got red hair. That's what happens. And right. And then what I'm doing is, okay, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll set his school bag on fire, and while he's busy trying to extinguish the flames, I'll run this way, and then I'm going to start burning down the school, because everybody, including the bully, will be busy making sure the school doesn't burn down while I run home. That's the strategy Putin is deploying right now. He knows if the Ukrainians are coming at him hard, okay, and there's nothing else distracting them, like a school on fire or something, right? Then he's going to get his behind whooped.
Well, it's also another way to take out communications.
Yeah, well, that helps. But you know what? I don't think the Ukrainians are in need of it, because what they would have gotten from the allies, from the NATO people and others, they would have gotten satellite communications, satellite phones, etc., etc. Plus, they have access to all of the satellite feeds, I'm sure. And what they've actually done recently, this was last week, beginning of last week and end of the week before, the patchwork they managed to undertake was nothing short of miraculous. So they did a really great job repairing some of the damage that had been done. So look, this is critical. I told you, this winter is going to be critical for the development of this war. At the end of this winter, there will be an outcome. Okay, I don't know what the outcome is. I don't know how big this whole thing is going to be. We've already seen, as we've discussed before, we've already seen other areas of conflict rearing their ugly head. Turkey going into Syria after the
boots on ground
PKK. Yeah, well, I mean they're fighting the Kurds, not the Syrians, nonetheless. But there's boots. I mean that's not completely unheard of, but the size of the operation that's pretty unique. I mean, not pretty. It's a unique event. I mean, we had incursions before and fights before, but that's almost like a whole-scale invasion.
Who was Saudi after?
Sorry?
Saudis were after someone as well.
Yeah, down in Yemen, the Saudis were fighting a war.
There was another place, and Israel said they weren't going to lend them their weapons, but you tell us what you want to hit, and we'll hit it.
Yeah, see, that's. I mean, it's all coming out
happening now. Yeah. Well,
it is, because the thing is this, right? I mean, people are distracted and they don't know what's going on, and the eyes is maybe not on the ball as much as it should be by certain people, and all of a sudden the things that were unthinkable before become feasible. So can we do this? Yeah, I think now we can. In fact, if we don't do it now, we might not have another good chance for another few years.
Miss our opportunity. Let's blow the dust off this plan and get it happening.
Yeah. I mean, if I was a military planner, I'd be looking at a whole bunch of stuff, to be honest with you.
You certainly would. But guess what? That's the end of the first hour. We're going to cease this YouTube broadcast and come back again with another broadcast for the second hour. And we're talking about religions, is it?
That's right.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you after the short break. Oh, you may as well take the time to donate in the meantime.